Morning, world. Good morning, YouTube. I have no idea. Oh, wait, I gotta look at my computer, y'all. I'm still on location. So I'm not doing all of the intro setup thingy-madoos that I usually do. So I'm not doing all of the okay, I can hear myself. Okay, I can hear myself on my computer, and the camera is cricket toe. Oh, that's better. That's less cricket. All right, good morning, YouTube. Hey, y'all. Hey. Well, hey. I decided to go live this evening on location. Y'all know, you know what I'm saying? We still on location. It's been a blah, blah, blah kind of day here because it's literally been raining all day. But I was able to get I think I did 4.8 miles today. I was able to get my walk in. And since I am not out and about this evening, I just decided to go live because I wanted to talk food. I have been eating really, really healthy still in moderation, and I've been eating junk too, just because I can. So I'm looking at the camera on my laptop. This part over here is the tripod, and I don't think I can get rid of that. Hold on a second. Let's see. Nope, 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 and nope. Girl, stop touching stuff because you're going to tear it up. Okay, wait. No, girl, let it go. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just stay there. Okay, I'm going to stay there. Okay, stay there. I just wish I could get rid of that. The stand, my tripod stand. I can't. Okay, wait. Maybe I can. I can. Well, that's better. It's less. That's better. I'm looking at it on my computer. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's get started. Um, I don't know that anybody's going to be joining in, whether they do or not. I don't really, it is what it ain't at this point. I want to put the information out. Plus, I've just been doing a really good job being mindful when I walk, being mindful when I eat, and making sure that I am, doing what I'm supposed to do. So, with that said, I would like to get through chapters 1 through 3 this evening while I share my rainy, hazy marina life with you guys. All right. Chapter 1, how it all began. Let me tell y'all something. I got earbuds in because I felt like I'm going to take one out. It's just weird. I felt like when I did my last live from here, I sounded like I was in I had 2 cans together. Also, I'm really close to the mall and there's lots of restaurants. So if the music gets loud, like it usually is at night, I'll end it early. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So I want to get through chapters 1 through 3 tonight, just because I think the information in this book is really valuable. And as we talk about mindfulness, as far as being older, mindfulness as we move and exercise, mindfulness as, just as a part of your life. I think being mindful as you eat is really, really important. Hey, girl. Hey, Kimber. Hey, honey. How are you? Thank you for being here, child. I just decided to go live. Hey, learning. I see you, boo. Hey, honey. Hey, y'all. So look, I've been stuck because it's been raining all day here. So I did get my walk in earlier, and I ate already for the day. So I just wanted to talk food. Like, I just think this is a really important subject. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be in my room, and TV is not really my thing. Even though, let me tell y'all, I found a new television show because I don't really watch TV when I'm at home, but when I go on vacation, I do. There is a television show called it's Terry Bradshaw. He's I guess, a former football player or coach or something like that. And it's called the Bradshaw Bunch. It is the cutest little show ever. I never heard of it, but I've been watching it just because, vacation life. I do all the things on vacation. So anyway, I like sharing my vacation spot with you guys. And I changed. So the sun rises on the other side of my balcony and the sun typically sets on this side. I don't know if you can see in the distance, even though the sun is hiding because it's been rainy and cloudy all day today. I wanted to share with y'all a sunset. So we won't get the full sunset effect today, but you will see the buildings start lighting up because it's going to get dark soon here. So yeah, I just want to share it with you. And I definitely want to talk food. Don't hate the rain. Learning the rain is beautiful. It's nice. It washes away all of the things that need to be washed away. It cleanses the earth, and it's a good thing. But it's not when you want to sit out on the patio and the balconies and get all of the views. You can't sit out in the rain. Even though I did, it slowed down a little bit earlier before I went to go eat, so I was able to sit outside, even though it wasn't a lot of sunshine. And it was sunny earlier. I did get my walk in this morning. I did my mindfulness walking, and I'll talk about that when I get into that book to tell you guys what my mindfulness walking looks like, because I'm not always focused. And I find myself thinking when I'm not supposed to, but that's part of the process, right? Okay, so anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get into the book. Chapter 1. Excuse me. I hope I don't sound like I'm in a tin can. I put I didn't do my wireless earbuds. I did my plug in to my telephone. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm trying to get through 3 chapters. We'll see how this works. And if it starts raining again, I might have to cut it short because the rain seems to the angle that I'm at, the rain seems to want to come in this side of the balcony. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Okay, good. It sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Chapter 1, how it all began. Evolutionobesity. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. 3 John 1 and 2. If we took a snapshot of man shortly after God removed his hands of creation, what would we see? Where would we look? What would man's typical day consist of? What did we eat and drink? How long did we live? How did we die? Evolution obesity describes how we evolved from humans that could not store energy or fat into those that could, and now are suffering from an excess of it. It is no mystery to scientists that primary man developed on the land we now refer to as the continent of Africa. This advancement began several million years ago, and we slowly evolved into modern day me and you during this process of fruition. We appreciated the untainted benefits of nature. We lived in small groups and moved among the land in unity. Each member of the clan had a specific role. Before we became meat eaters, the entire family would collect fruits and vegetables that were found to be of great nutritious value. We drank plenty of water and enjoyed the wholesome juices from the tropical fruit we ate. When we became carnivores, the role of each tribe member changed. The men and boys spent their time in search of animal meat. Over the years, capture grew from primitive animal traps into fancy tools and weapons. Women and young girls became the exclusive gatherers. Our bodies were free of cancers, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, degenerative arthritis, high cholesterol, and other modern day ailments. In addition to the righteous eating we did, we ran, swam, jumped, and played often. All of this was done while exposing our melanin rich skin to the sun to strengthen our body and make our challenging days easier to enjoy. The term evolution obesity is just as novel to you as it is to me. It is a term that I recently created in my quest to explain when and why man developed this heinous disease characterized by this excessive accumulation of fat and all of its affiliated ailments, such as diabetes, high cholesterol, heart attacks, strokes, arthritis, etc. The oldest human remains, according to a PBS publication entitled Search for the First Human, were found in Africa. This group of ancestors called Oro, Auroran, I'm not even going to try to say this second name, y'all. Yes, I am, because I'm a teacher and I make my kids sound stuff out. Here it goes. To Genesis. To Genesis. That makes sense. Okay. So let's start over. This group of ancestors called Auroran to Genesis processed full molars and small canines, suggesting that the Auroran often ate fruit and vegetables and only enjoyed animal flesh when available. 6 million years ago, the body size of this early man was similar to that of a small chimpanzee. They had no fat accumulation, were moderately muscular, and had smaller brains. Their facial bones were developed in such a way to accompany the attachment of thicker and stronger muscles for fast and aggressive chewing of their food. The, avail- the availability of food, however, was few and far between. In 1974, the remains of a prehistoric woman called Lucy were found in Africa as well. She lived some 3 million years ago and was part of a species called Australopithecus. She stood upright and walked on 2 feet, just as we do today. Until the Auroran remains were unearthed, she was considered to be our closest link to original man, while the Australopithecus are very closely linked to modern day man and bear much of the same physical and genetic makeup. They were much healthier than we are. At this stage, your descendants were not much different from the Auroran, although they lived about 3 million years after the Australopithecus. The primary foods were fruit, vegetables, and animals when obtainable. Your ancestors evolved into a group of people not much different from you about 2 million years ago. The Homo habilis were considered the first true humans. They created and used tools they made from stones. They too lived in Africa and ate foods like the Auroran and Lucy. It was during this time that your people of the past developed a taller body stature and their brains began to become larger and more developed. With the introduction of this new equipment, they were able to capture and kill animals more easily. In turn, they began to eat more animal flesh. Within 500,000 years of becoming the Homo habilis, we began to make fire and use it for dietary advancements. This Homo erectus had mastered bipedalism and would now travel over large land bridges and across the waters in search of an even larger variety of foods. About 1 million years ago, this evolutionary state marked the spread of man across the entire world and the beginning of different races, cultures, and ethnicities as we know them today. You were now considered true hunters and gatherers as our brains evolved into a more complex and far more intelligent organ. Although it happened at a very slow pace, our development was only beginning. As Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, you were now wise men and women that lived in African caves and huts, ideally located near rivers and lakes. This allowed you to eat an abundance of fish, just as Jesus did. You developed fishing baskets and rods, along with boats, to better enjoy the gathering of your foods. You could also use your now even more advanced equipment, such as spears, harpoons, scrapers, bow and arrows, cudgels, and hand axes to catch animals as they visited the waters to drink. Your community consisted of tribes of up to 100 people. Fire was used more often to heat and cook foods, and honey was used to sweeten foods. Unfortunately, Paleolithic man still went days to weeks without eating because food still was not always available. In order to have the energy to continue to fish, hunt, and gather, your body needed to develop a means of storing this food energy. This storage mechanism would be able to provide the body with the energy needed to continue to protect communities, build housing for growing populations, climb trees to gather fruit, seize and prepare animal flesh, transport equipment while hunting, and carry the gatherings back to their communities. The energy tank needed to be full enough to drive these developing bodies until an animal was hunted and the next fruit and vegetables were gathered. Today, man has well evolved into an animal that has the ability to store energy as fat. This energy is measured in the form of calories. Fat is developed as a tissue known as adipose. Adipose tissue is made up of tiny fat cells called adipocytes. The number of fat cells one has is determined at birth, and man's ability to increase the number of these fat cells exists for only a short period of time until puberty. As an adult, man cannot produce additional adipocytes, but can use them to enlarge by consuming an excess of calories. This is how man has evolved into an animal that has the potential to become overweight or obese. As energy expenditure, for example, running and walking, takes place, these cells shrink, as does one's total body mass. Weight reduction therefore leads to a decrease in the size of the adipocytes, but not the number of adipocytes. At times when no food is available, the process is reversed. The energy stored in these fat cells can be converted from the stored fat into glucose. Glucose is blood sugar and is the major energy source for our body. Fat is converted into glucose by an intracellular process our bodies developed called glu- gluconeogenesis. Man's evolution into a fat storing creature also brought about an increased craving for meat and led to an even larger sized brain. This increase in brain size was directly related to the more complex human body that this brain now controlled. The brain, in turn, needed more brain food to function. This explains why we turned to a wider variety of food and began to travel outside of Africa to expand our menu. We began to search for plants that contained higher level of sugars and meats that were low in fat and high in protein. As our ability to reason further increased, so did our brain dimensions, height, hunting and gathering skills, reproductive ability, and food availability. This yielded a more refined civilization through natural selection and paved the way for modern man. We then began to breed cattle, trade with our ancestors that migrated out of Africa, draw, craft, carve, replace stone with copper, bronze, and iron, and become an agricultural society. To better understand the influence of food and genetics on the evolution of obesity, one can look at modern day Asia, India, and China. One can look at modern day Asia, India, and China, what they know from firsthand experiences, what a chronic food shortage does to the body. After millions of deaths over the last 50 years due to the lack of food, scientists were able to take a closer look at things. For thousands of years, they were famished and undernourished. However, as their economies grew, so did their appetites. In the early 1970s, the Indian and Chinese population began to eat 2 to 3 times as much meat, sugar, and fatty foods than ever before since early man inhabited that part of the world. Asians then transformed from an undernourished state to an overnourished state. With this change in diet and an increase in the rate of overweight and obesity came a change in the body's ability to ward off disease, such as cancers, hypertension, and diabetes. All right, that is our historical view of how we got to where we are today. This is taking us into chapter 2, hunger. I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Matthew 25:30. Hunger is a normal feeling that all animals experience when the body is in need of energy and essential nutrients, vitamins, minerals, fat, carbohydrates, protein, water, etc. The feeling is often interpreted as an unpleasant feeling of distress that may even present as weakness. These feelings of survival compromise start at a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. When you're hungry, the stomach muscles undergo intermittent painful spasms called hunger pains. Man, the most advanced animal, can go up to 1 to 2 months without eating when our bodies are in good health. When Jesus was tempted by the devil, the biblical story tells us that he went 40 days and 40 nights without food. Hunger seems to have an imposter that has a way of invading the thoughts and emotions of many of us. I refer to this false sense of craving for food as false hunger. Misinterpreting false hunger as true or real hunger is a major problem amongst African Americans. Overweight, obese, and female African Americans seem to experience false hunger most often. Mm, mm, mm. The best way to distinguish between the two is to learn the difference and then be trained on how to recognize and resist false hunger. It has been a challenge for me to get patients to realize that oftentimes their minds are crying out for emotional or financial support, rest, thirst, quenching, love, excitement, companionship, affection, vacation time, or respect, but not food. Wow. This just hit me hard. I want to reread this. It has been a challenge for me to get patients to realize that oftentimes their minds are crying out for emotional or financial support, rest, thirst quenching, love, excitement, companionship, affection, vacation time, or respect, but not food. Do you realize how much we eat to suppress all of these things that he's saying right here? I am so guilty. So guilty. Some patients have even tried to convince me that they are always hungry. These patients have been experiencing false hunger, which is the desire for unnecessary or harmful foods in the absence of true hunger. If you are overweight or obese, you cannot afford to give in to false hunger any longer. In my experience, the most common cause of responding to false hunger is emotional stress. When polled, many patients admit that their false hunger can be most commonly traced back to a form of stress. Food, in that sense, provides satisfaction and relieves the stress. Physiologically, this relief occurs through the actions of a chemical called serotonin. The second most common presentation of false hunger is out of habit. My patients eventually understand that when they routinely finish all of the food, regardless of their degree of hunger, served to them, that they are often taking in an excessive amount of calories. I also help patients realize that when they eat a hefty lunch just because the clock struck noon, or eat ice cream just because they just finished dinner, They may end up overweight or obese. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I had me some dessert today, but I didn't eat all of my food. I have I'm learning to be mindful. I'm learning not to eat all. I had nachos today. I knew I couldn't eat all of the nachos. I only ate enough nachos that I had to have a piece of chicken for every nacho. And you know they stingy with the chicken, right? I didn't even eat half of my nachos today. And I felt good about it. And I was full. I was satisfied. Not full. I was satisfied. I don't eat to get full anymore. I eat to be satisfied. And then I allow myself a treat. And I had the little nacho dessert and it was really good. And I ain't gonna lie, I ate some dessert yesterday too. I had some churro. It was a churro, a little churro bowl. It was good. I just didn't eat it all. I've learned to walk away. And one of my best friends was like, "Girl, that's money." I was like, "Girl, it's either me letting this food sit here or letting the pounds accumulate on my body. And what we're not gonna do is let these pounds accumulate, girl. I let this little extra food can be gone. It's not gonna hurt me to let it go." All right. For overweight and obese people, hunger should be interpreted as a sign for you to provide only the amount of energy you will need to complete the work you will be doing for the next 2 to 3 hours. What do I mean? The average person burns approximately 150 calories per hour while sitting at a desk using a computer. If one does that between the hours of 9 a.m. and noon, they may have burned only 450 calories. Therefore, when they eat a meal at 8 a.m., it should be just enough calories to get through this task. That means eating a morning breakfast meal worth 800 energy calories is too much, and the remainder will be stored as fat. I once asked a patient of mine to spend 48 hours without looking at a watch or clock and without allowing his senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, and touching, to be influenced by food. This patient, a 28-year-old auto industry supervisor, was determined to get my point, so he stayed in his home the entire following weekend. He watched no television and didn't listen to the radio, thereby eliminating all food commercials. And he prepared his own meals, smelled and touched no other foods because he used no time-keeping devices. Time couldn't dictate the onset of hunger or send false hunger signals. The following Monday, he called me explaining that the first day was a challenge, but the second day he ate food only because he knew he needed to eat something. Since then, Mr. Daniels has been able to recondition his thought process, and he always asks himself before he eats if the food he is about to eat is for true hunger. This is the mindfulness, you guys, that we talk about. For him, the best way to deal with these pseudo hunger signals was to first experience it and then subjectively identify them. Incidentally, Mr. Daniels' body mass index has decreased astonishingly from 41 to 24 within a 12-month period. How to recognize and overcome false hunger. Number one, understand the origin of your false hunger signals when they present themselves. When you feel hunger, ask yourself if you just experienced a stressful event and assess your emotions for feelings of sadness or hopelessness. For example, are you hungry just because it's lunchtime? Or are you craving popcorn just because you're watching a movie? Child, potato chips and French fries are of the devil, and they will get you caught up every single time. A simple way to do this is to keep a 30-day log of how you feel and what you're doing whenever you feel hungry. Any patterns you notice are sure to be of false hunger origin. Number two, never respond to hunger without first ruling out false hunger. Putting food in your mouth shortly after deciding that you're hungry is a serious problem. Remember that Jesus sacrificed for over a month and proved that you've got plenty of time and that these deceitful temptations can be overcome. Instead, try creating positive or rewarding thoughts or drink a glass or two of water, since you should be drinking 1/2 a gallon per day anyway. If your hunger persists, wait at least 30 minutes before reaching for something to eat. Over time, you will find that as the false hunger signals go away, so will your hunger because it was not real. You will literally forget about your cravings. Hey, Splash. Hey, girl. Hey, what's going on, honey bunny? We're over here. Well, I'm over here. Um, just trying to create a space about mindfulness in all aspects of life. And since I just lost 30 pounds on my journey, I'm really just wanting to share some of the things that are a part of my thought process and that are a part of me, some of the books that I read, and I wanted to just share it with you guys. So thank you for being here. Hey, Foxy Boo. Hey, girl. Hey. You get to watch the sunset on this little cloudy, rainy day out here, girl. Good evening. We'll catch the replay. What you doing? Where you at? What you doing? Where you at? I'm all nosy. You supposed to be at home, girl. I got the baby's gift. I saw that Alana Foxy. I saw that the grandbaby number 1 graduated. So I got her something too. And I got grandbaby number 2 something too. I hope they like it. But I did my little gift shopping today. All right, number 3. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to stay focused in the book, but since I'm on vacation and all my stuff is just random right now, I'm doing whatever I feel like doing. So I'm reading about how to recognize and overcome false hunger, and we are on step number 3. Retrain your brain to not send the misleading signals. After eating, if the food did not completely satisfy you, take away your hunger pangs, or remove undesired emotions and weakness, then it was probably not real hunger. Experiences of false hunger must never be forgotten. Record them on paper and in your mind's memory bank because they will be back. And when they do, this is when you must put your full armor and fight it. You must put on your full armor and you must fight it. Recognizing, understanding, and ignoring signals of false hunger will cause them to disappear and come less frequently. Your brain will no longer allow them to flourish. Like anything else, practice will lead to significant improvement and head toward perfection. Also, remember the food you eat must have nutritious value when assessing your hunger. For example, grab your favorite fruit instead of your favorite candy bar. The fruit will provide you with the nutrients your body desires with true hunger where junk foods don't. And the true hunger may therefore persist. Meanwhile, try gauging true and false hunger by using my hunger scale. Use this while you sort things out between true and false hunger. The principle is simple. You rate your hunger on a scale from 10 to 100. 10 presents you feeling completely full, and 100 represents you feeling very hungry. So he gives us the scale, y'all. I'm going to see if I can flash it in front of this camera. It's not a good, clear picture. No. Anyway, anywho. The Eat and Live Longer Hunger Score Index. So he has us with, if your hunger score index is between 10 to 50, that is false hunger. That means you're not really hungry. If you feel hungry, you're not really hungry. If your hunger index is between 60 to 80, that is true hunger, and that is when you're supposed to eat. When you get to 90 to 100 or 9 out of 10, that is high risk and that is a trouble zone. You already know. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know when y'all walk up in that grocery store and you hungry, you already know you be shopping and buying junk you ain't supposed to be eating and that you don't need. You just be buying it just because. Duh, I'm hungry and everything I see right now looks good. Baby, that was not on your grocery list. Put it back. Put it back. If you rate your hunger at 6, 7, or 8, then you are probably hungry enough to eat. You should always eat when your hunger is at this level. If you give your level of hunger a score of 9 or 10, you are too hungry and you waited too long to eat. You are setting yourself up for weight gain when you flirt with this level of hunger. Eating at this level is very dangerous and you must pace yourself as it would be easy to overeat, gain weight, and lose control. If you are at 50 or less on my hunger score index or 5, I'm taking his 50 and turning it to 5, then you aren't really hungry enough to eat. At this score, your hunger should always disappear after 20 to 30 minutes. It's time to become a hunger detective. Another way I get my point across to my patients is by referring to a gas gauge. I ask my patients to consider their stomachs as a gas tank, except their stomach's tank should never be on empty or full. What I explain to them is that they should eat only when they are near the quarter mark and only up to the 3/4 mark. When dealing with true hunger, one should never wait until they reach the E level to eat. This will lead to binging. Conversely, you should never eat until you reach the F level, as this will stretch the stomach. This will lead to eating more and lack of satisfaction. Here is a eat to live longer tip. Only eat when your tank is a quarter full and always stop when you hit the 3/4 marks. So he's just basically saying you should not eat when you are starving. You should have eaten before then. You knew you were hungry before you started to starve. And you should not fill up to the point where you get sleepy. Y'all already know. Y'all already know when you gotta let me tell y'all something. I got a friend that wore one of them girdles to Thanksgiving dinner and that thing popped. Baby, that thing popped. You already know you wasn't supposed to eat that much. Stop it. Y'all, we got to do better. You got to treat your body, this avatar that you are living in, it deserves better. It really, really does. All right, last chapter of the day. And the lights are coming on the buildings. I don't know if you guys can see them really good on my camera, but they're starting to come on. It's lighting up out here. By the time I get done, you guys should be able to see the full beauty of all of the lights and all of the things. And it didn't rain again, so it looks like we're doing good. All right. Everybody was speaking to everybody. I'm checking out the chat real quick before I get into chapter 3. Splash says, okay, thanks for sharing. I definitely need to lose a few pounds. I'm here for you, boo. I'm here for you. Um, she got best dancer. Congratulations. All right. Everybody spoke. Yay. You already know, Splash. Don't be up in that grocery store getting all of the things, filling up that grocery cart with stuff. You know. And let me tell y'all, I already told y'all. So I do like Skinny Pop. Skinny Pop is the devil because I like the Costco big bag of Skinny Pop because you know it's only like $6. But baby, you could listen. I like to open it when I'm driving on my way home. And that little 15-minute drive, do you know how much Skinny Pop popcorn you can eat? The Skinny Pop ain't skinny no more. That's a full regular, full figure size Skinny Pop. That's done popped up and out of there. It's too much. We got to be mindful. We can't just mindlessly eat anymore, you guys. I'm guilty. So I'm not, listen, I'm not pointing fingers or shaming anybody. I have been on a weight loss discovery journey my entire life. And I am just now waking up to this abusive relationship that I have with food. Like literally, I have an abusive relationship with food. And I want the abuse to stop. I don't like it no more. I don't like abuse. It's not my thing. I don't let Negroes abuse me. How am I gonna let some food abuse me? No, no, and no. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I have to try that because I love popcorn. Skinny Pop is really good, Splash. Skinny Pop, and I think Skinny Pop, one of the things when I start waking up to like being mindful, you got to look at serving size. I think a cup of Skinny Pop, you might be able to get more than a cup, honestly. But like a regular size bag of Skinny Pop is about 150 calories. And that's not bad. The problem is, how many servings are you actually eating? Are you eating just one 150 calorie serving, or did you just have six 150 calorie servings? And you have literally maxed out. We literally are supposed to eat between 12 to 1500 calories a day. When you exercise, you get to add in more calories. But if you're not moving your body, you can't. And so if you're eating more than that 12 to 1500 calories a day, that gets stored as fat. And that's how we become fluffy. We like to use that word fluffy. No, you're overweight. We like to be real nice about how we talk about weight because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Child, listen. Sometimes the only way people wake up is when you hurt their feelings. And sometimes the truth hurt. Like it just does. I hurt my feelings all of the time. You can ask Foxy if she's still here. I am super duper hard on me. I look at myself and I'm like, girl, get your shit together. Cause you out of order. You out of pocket, as Simple would say. Okay, I gotta finish because it's getting dark, y'all. And I gotta go in here and watch some more television because you already know. And then before I finish, before I read chapter 3, another thing that I do, you guys, I drink tea. I drink tea at least once a day, and peppermint tea is really good for detoxing your body. I do not believe in powders and potions and skinny teas and all of that shit. Why don't I believe in it? Because I have done it. So I'm not just preaching just because you shouldn't do it. Baby, I've done, listen, in college, do y'all remember them frozen? They used to sell these freeze dried meals that they used to give to the astronauts. It was a whole weight loss system. I bought that shit. It was so fucking nasty. It was trash. I've done I have not done Weight Watchers because Weight Watchers is literally just kind of what I do with monitoring. I use an app called Lose It. I put everything I eat into this app called Lose It. I put every single exercise into the app. And at the end of the day, my goal is to have calories still available for me to eat, which makes sense because if what Dr. Edie is saying on your on this E through 4, I always try to come in with at least 3/4 of the tank still available to put food in my body, but I don't, if that makes sense. So every day, my goal is to be under the calories that I have available that I put inside of my body. Some days I go over because I will plan out my week. So if I know I'm going to a party or I'm about to hang out, I will be under more throughout the week so that on that one day, I'm able to indulge and I am able to have a beverage or two. I'm also learning how not to drink so much, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I am of the belief that if you drink, you're supposed to get drunk. Like that's just been my motto all my life. I am changing the way that I think about drinking as well. You do not have to drink in excess because then you get stupid and then you eat a bunch of stuff because you believe that if you eat bread, it'll suck up all of the shit and then you won't be drunk no more. That's a lie. You lying to yourself. That's a lie. You still drunk, girl. You still drunk, girl. You is still drunk, girl. So I am learning, and that's why I am, I'm a teacher. So I just want to share what I'm learning with you guys. And, I'm using some of the books that I believe in that I've read to share it with you. All right, what you say, Foxy? I'm too hard on myself? I don't think so. I'm just enough hard on me. But that's why I'm hard on other people, I think, too. But I'm not as hard on my friends, but I am hard on dudes. Child. Y'all, I got a story to tell y'all about this dude I met here. But I ain't gonna tell y'all today. He's a dumbass, though. I met a dumbass. How you meet a dumbass on vacation, child? Cause something is wrong with my energy. I'm trying to get it together. Cause why do I attract that foolishness? Okay, anyway, I'm random. I'm on vacation, y'all. All right, last chapter, chapter 3, soul food. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and you are not your own? 1 Corinthians 6 and 19. Soul food had its purpose yesterday, but today has unfortunately become the deadly food of African Americans. When one becomes spiritual, saved, holy, a better person, more mature, or develops a close relationship with their supreme being, one changes. Many of the things you did, you no longer have a desire to do. Your new way of life will be obvious by the new things you do. And the way you walk, speak, and carry yourself will tell your story. Your way of thinking changes by the divine intervention of God. Should not the way you eat also change? After all, Jesus' last meeting with the disciples was the Last Supper. The food you eat is obviously important. The term ethnic group refers to a group or race of people that are classified according to their commonalities. Their culture can be understood by observing their race, religion, and social beliefs. When referencing African Americans, one would first consider any American of African and especially of Black African descent. A specific uniqueness about the African American culture is that it is, at times, described as being one with soul. That is, we are thought to have a strong and spiritual means of expressing ourselves through our music, food, dance, hairstyles, clothing, dialect, etc. Soul food is the ethnic food of African Americans. Soul food has also been known as slaves' cuisine and good times food. Nonetheless, this type of food has been part of the African American culture since the early 1400s. In order to properly define soul food, one must first appreciate its history. Traditionally, African people would eat grains, legumes, yams, sorghums, watermelons, pumpkins, okra, greens, eggplant, cucumbers, onions, garlic, and a large amount of fruit. Meats would be served sparingly, as the average African ate a mostly vegetarian diet. When the slave trade began, it was also the start of a change in the diet of the African people and the beginning of soul food as we know it today. Aboard the slave ships, the slave master would feed the slaves his leftover food. The enslaved African became accustomed to eating a small serving of meat, soiled fishes, rice covered with a slabber sauce, beans, and vegetables. Historically, this meal was their first exposure to a diet high in salt. On the American plantation, the African was again forced to eat a new plate. Their previously healthy Wait, y'all, it's getting dark. I can't see. Their previously healthy African plate was quickly replaced with an unhealthy African American dish. The slave's diet now consisted of the slave owner's throwaway foods and the things he refused to eat. The vegetables were the tops of turnips, beets, and dandelions. Eventually, new types of greens, for example, collards and mustards, were being cooked by the slaves. Now, the meat, pig's feet, ham hocks, chitterlings, pig's ears, hog jowl, tripe, and crackling became the main dish. If lucky, they would be giving generous portions of greens and molasses as dessert. The common drink suddenly became lemonade and iced tea. The slave's diet deteriorated even more into this modern day soul food after we became the plantation house cooks. The skill and creativity of the slaves created plates covered with greasy fried chicken. In addition, sweet potatoes in place of the African yams and nuts were becoming the preferred taste. Dinner time, if granted by their master, was a time when the slaves would gather after a hard day of work. They would eat their good times foods, worship God, and teach their youth about their wonderful life back in their motherland. It was this well appreciated and masterminded soul food that gave rise to many popular dishes found today in restaurants across America. These popular dishes include hush puppies, gumbo, gut strut, croquet, pot liquor, and many more. Soul food is even served in other ethnic restaurants in the form of appetizers and desserts. Soul food, as we know it today, is more than just a plate of creativity. To the African American, it is a symbol of tenacity, hardship, unity, and blessings from God. Even now, it is eaten by African Americans on a regular basis or during special gatherings, for example, holidays, funerals, and parties. Soul food is an outward sign of the inward grace of African Americans. Soul food restaurants, to me, are businesses that exist only because of the selfishness of the slave master and the creativity of the slave. They are monuments that represent the birth of the African American slave culture. Along with the creation of soul food came the beginning of many new diseases for the Africans transplanted in America. We began to see significant heart disease, cancers, strokes, diabetes, and kidney disease. To the slave, eating soul food was a symbol of tenacity, hardship, unity, and a gift from God. But God has since then blessed our people and delivered us from slavery. Yet we have not delivered ourselves from such awful eating. It served its purpose, but it was a bad food during a bad time. Today, on the other hand, to eat that type of food is an abomination and should be unheard of, except in the history books relating to slavery and the advancement of African Americans. We must strive for self preservation instead of self destruction. Again, we can do this by first changing the way we think. Y'all, this is that mindfulness in everything we do. We have to want to live better, more prosperous, and healthier lives. We must change what we eat and the way we eat. And that includes getting rid of our changing, and that includes getting rid of or changing the contents of soul food. Soul food is no different than drugs, alcohol, racism, poverty, and unemployment, in that it contributes to the destruction of African Americans. Our bodies are God's temples, and we must cook, eat, drink, and serve foods that are righteous and godly. 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17 says, Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defiles the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy. Since soul food is unhealthy and is responsible for much of our sickness and countless deaths, why then do we continue to eat it? Because it's good. Child, I ain't gonna lie, it's good. It's good. Dr. Edie, it's good. Is it simply because it is a part of our culture or heritage? No, sir, it's good. I liken African American people to Esau, brother of Jacob and son of Isaac. Africans are God's firstborn children, and Esau was Isaac's firstborn son. The firstborn has access to the birthright. The birthright entitles one to the family inheritances, head of the household, and many other blessings. As a people, we were given the most fertile land, precious treasures, wisdom, knowledge, and bodies engineered to endure hardships like true soldiers. Esau was privileged to a double portion of his father's assets and would become the head of the family upon the death of his father. Esau one day returned home, famished after he had been hunting in the wilderness. His brother Jacob had been cooking, and Esau was tempted by the tantalizing aroma. Esau's desire for food proved to be his downfall as he traded his God given blessings for food. Today, we continue to miss out on blessings as we eat food that is forbidden and that we know is destroying our bodies. We are preoccupied with satisfying our hunger instead of satisfying our bodies and our God. Several facts suggest that we have replaced worshiping God with the worship of food. Many people get upset with me when I speak against soul food. Most African American adults are either overweight or obese. We adamantly refuse to give up beef or pork. Fasting for 40 days seems impossible to us. We still eat what we eat, even after being told that it is killing us. We don't eat the way Jesus ate. The bottom line, the less you eat like your African ancestors, the more susceptible you are to disease, the faster you age, and the sooner you will die. That, my friends, is the end of chapter 3. Chapter 3. And that is the end of our reading today. It is now nighttime here. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I hope you guys enjoyed the view. I pray peace for you. I pray vacations for you. I pray inhaling deeply and exhaling. I pray mindfulness. I pray peace. I pray love. I pray hope. I pray the best for you, friends. I love you. I really do. Thank you for being here. Maybe I'll come back another day while I'm here. We'll see. I love you guys. Take care.